Chapter 5 The Tale of Melon City, Stanza-wise explanation, summary, and important word meanings from Class 11, Subject English, Book Snapshots. So, friends, I have divided this poem into 26 stanzas. We will read their explanation step by step. Now, let's start. In the city of which I sing, there was just and placid king. Explanation. The poet introduces a fictional city ruled by a just and calm, placid king. The tone seems positive and idealistic. Stanza 2. The king proclaimed an arch should be constructed that triumphantly would span the major thoroughfare to edify spectators there. The king orders the construction of a grand arch over the main road to inspire and impress the people. The motive is to create a symbol of pride. Stanza 3. The workmen went and built the thing. They did so since he was the king. The king rode down the thoroughfare to edify spectators there. The workmen follow the king's command and construct the arch. The king himself passes under the arch to experience the grandeur he has commissioned. Stanza 4. Under the arch he lost his crown. The arch was built too low. A frown appeared upon his placid face. The king said, "This is a disgrace." Ironically, as the king passes under the arch, his crown falls off. The arch is too low. His calm expression changes to anger. He feels insulted and humiliated. Stanza 5. The chief of builders will be hanged. The rope and gallows were arranged. The chief of builders was led out. He passed the king. He gave a shout. In a rage, the king orders the chief builder to be hanged. Arrangements for execution are made swiftly. Stanza 6. O king, it was the workmen's fault. O, said the king, and called a halt to the proceedings, being just and placider now, he said, I must have all the workmen hanged instead. The chief builder blames the workmen, and the king, wanting to appear just, changes his decision and shifts the blame to the worker. Stanza 7. The workmen looked surprised and said, O king, you do not realize the bricks were made of the wrong size. Summon the masons, said the king. The masons stood there quivering. The workmen, to save themselves, blame the masons who made the bricks. The frightened masons are brought in. Stanza 8. It was the architect, they said. The architect was summoned. Well, architect, said his majesty, I do ordain that you shall be hanged. The masons pass the blame to the architect who designed the arch. The king decides he must now be punished. Stanza 9. Said the architect, O king, you have forgotten one small thing. You made certain amendments to the plans when I showed them to you. The architect cleverly reminds the king that the modifications were his own orders. Stanza 10. The king heard this, the king saw red. In fact, he nearly lost his head. But being a just and placid king, he said, This is a tricky thing. I need some counsel. Bring to me the wisest men in this country. Realizing he himself is to blame, the king becomes furious and confused. To appear fair, he seeks advice from the wisest men in the kingdom. Stanza 11. The wisest man was found and brought, nay, carried to the royal court. He could not walk and could not see, so old and therefore wise was he. A very old blind man is brought. The stereotype here is that age equals wisdom. Stanza 12. But in a quavering voice he said, The culprit must be punished. Truly the arch it was that banged the crown off, and it must be hanged. The wise man absurdly declares the arch guilty, saying, It caused the problem, so it must be hanged, showing the ridiculous logic in the system. Stanza 3. To the scaffold the arch was led, when suddenly a counsellor said, How can we hang so shamefully? What touched your head, your majesty? The arch is taken for execution, but a minister protests, saying it's disrespectful to punish something that touched the royal head. Stanza 14. True. Mused the king, by now the crowd, restless, was muttering aloud. The king perceived their mood and trembled, and said to all who were assembled, the king is worried about the growing unrest of the crowd. He is not really interested in justice, just in calming the public. Stanza 15. Let us postpone consideration of finer points like guilt. The nation wants a hanging, hanged must be someone and that immediately. To appease the public, the king declares someone must be hanged, no matter who is guilty. The focus shifts from justice to political survival. Stanza 16. The nose was set up somewhat high, each man was measured by and by. But only one man was so tall, he fitted one man, that was all. A nose is set, everyone is measured for height to find a person who fits. Only the king is tall enough to be hanged. Stanza 17. He was the king, his majesty, was therefore hanged by royal decree. Ironically, the king is executed under his own law. The absurdity of blind justice reaches its peak. Stanza 18. Thank goodness we found someone, said the ministers, for if instead we had not, the unruly town might well have turned against the crown. The ministers feel relieved. Any hanging was enough to maintain order. It wasn't about guilt but avoiding rebellion. Stanza 19. Long live the king, the ministers said. Long live the king is dead. Irony continues, they declare support for the king even though he is dead. It shows ritual over reason, words over meaning. Stanza 20. They pondered the dilemma, then, being practical minded men, sent out the heralds to proclaim in his former majesty's name. The ministers must choose a new king and make the announcement in the name of the dead king. Their priority is to follow procedure, no matter how illogical. Stanza 21. The next to pass the city gate will choose the ruler of our state. As is our custom, this will be enforced with due ceremony. A bizarre tradition is followed. The next passerby at the gate will choose the new king. It highlights randomness in governance. Stanza 22. A man passed by the city gate, an idiot, the guards cried, wait. Who is to be the king? Decide. A melon, the idiot replied. The next passerby is an idiot and he randomly says a melon, his usual answer to everything. Stanza 23. This was his standard answer to all questions. He liked melons. You are now our king, the ministers said, crowning a melon. Then they led, carried the melon to the throne, and reverently set it down. Taking his word literally, the ministers crown a melon as king, again following meaningless tradition. The absurdity peaks. The symbol of power is now a fruit. Stanza 24. This happened years and years ago, when now you ask the people, so your king appears to be a melon. How did this happen? They say, well, on account of customary choice. This ridiculous tale is now tradition. The people accept it calmly. Stanza 25. If His Majesty rejoice in being a melon, that's okay with us, for who are we to say what he should be as long as he leaves us in peace and liberty? The people are content. If their king is a melon and does not interfere, they are happy. It reflects the idea of laissez-faire. Freedom from interference is more important than logic or leadership. Stanza 26. The principles of laissez-faire seem to be well established there. The poem ends with a satirical remark. The people enjoy freedom even under a melon king because he doesn't interfere. So friends, we have completed the explanation of the poem. Now let's read the summary. The Tale of Melon City is a humorous and satirical narrative poem written by Vikram Seth, inspired by a tale from Idris Shah's collection of teaching stories. The poem is a powerful satire on power, justice, and governance and highlights the absurdity that often lies beneath systems of law and custom. The poem begins in a fictional city ruled by a just and calm, placid king. The king wants to build a grand arch to impress the citizens. The arch is constructed, but when the king passes under it, his crown falls. The arch is too low. Embarrassed, the king orders the chief of builders to be hanged. The blame game begins. The chief blames the workmen blame the masons, who blame the architect in turn blames the king himself, saying he made last minute changes to the design. The king is now in a dilemma. To maintain his image of justice, he consults the wisest men in the country. The old wise man declares that the arch is to blame and should be hanged. While the arch is being taken to be hanged, a minister objects, saying it would be disrespectful to punish something that touched the king's head. The king agrees, but now the public is angry. They want someone to be punished. To avoid public unrest, the king says someone must be hanged. After measuring everyone's height, it turns out that only the king fits the noose. So, ironically, the king is hanged by his own decree. The ministers, to keep the system running, declare that the next person who passes the city gate will choose the new ruler. By chance, the next person is an idiot who always replies a melon to every question. The ministers take him seriously and crown a melon as the new king. Over time, this becomes tradition. The people are happy as the Melon King does not interfere in their lives. When asked about their strange ruler, the citizens reply that they value peace and liberty, and if a melon gives them that, they are fine with it. Message Message moral of the poem. First, satire on governance. The poem mocks the inefficiency and absurdity of rulers and their systems. Second, justice without logic. The poem shows how justice can become farcical when based on appearances, rituals, or bureaucracy rather than reason. Third, blind obedience to tradition. People blindly follow customs even if those customs make no sense, like crowning a melon. Laissez-faire philosophy. The poem ends by showing people are happy with a ruler who doesn't interfere, valuing freedom and peace over logical or effective governance. Fifth, power can be meaningless. The poem ridicules how power and authority can sometimes be empty and symbolic, like a fruit on a throne. Next, vocabulary, important word meanings. Placid, calm, peaceful. Thoroughfare, a main road or public highway. Edify, to morally or intellectually instruct or improve. Disgrace, shame or dishonor. Gallows, a structure used for hanging criminals. Quivering, trembling or shaking with fear. Ordain, officially order or decree. Saw red, became very angry. Tricky, complicated or difficult. Counsel, advice or suggestion. Scaffold, a raised platform used for executions. Mused, thought deeply or pondered. Postpone, delay or put off to a later time. Noose, a loop with a running knot used for hanging. Heralds, messengers or announcers of official proclamations. Proclaim, declare officially or publicly. Dilemma, a situation in which a difficult choice must be made. Laissez-faire, a policy of non-interference by the government in the affairs of individuals. Liberty, freedom from control, interference, or oppression. So, friends, we have completed stanza-wise explanation, summary, and vocabulary from this chapter. We will do question answers of this chapter in a separate video. If you like the video, kindly like it and share it with your friends. Also, subscribe to my channel. We will meet in the next video. Thank you for watching.